So this brother I'm going to introduce to you, he told me how he was in his cell, and he said, man, I ain't had no, he created a voice coach for himself. He said he would listen to Chris Brown tapes and stay in his cell and try to imitate his voice. That was his voice coach. And because of his dedication, you know, you put $2 in the bank, don't go there and ask for $5 out. Because of his dedication, because of what he put in, he was able to get something out. And now you probably see this brother all over YouTube doing his thing. He internationally known, as they used to say when I was young. Brother, I want to introduce you, want to share a few words of inspiration with you, and I think he's going to perform a song that he wrote while he was in Manson Youth Institution. The brother's from Waterbury, but I want y'all to let him know he got peoples, not folks, he got peoples in Bridgeport. Please let this brother know he got peoples, he got family in Bridgeport. Brother Jaquan McCoy.
How you doing today? Glad I was able to make it here. I go by Quan, but I couldn't, my artist name gotta be Jaquan McCoy. Somebody got that like on Spotify, so I had to just go with my full name. But I met Daeed, I think back in maybe 2007, 2009, maybe 2010. I had got incarcerated for armed robbery in Waterbury, Connecticut back in 2007 at the age of 15. I'm from the inner city. My father sold drugs his whole life. My mom was really into church. She's an evangelist. And for me, I knew really young that I had talent and it wasn't being fostered. So naturally, I chose the streets because I felt like I was looking for validation. As I went into prison though, and they sentenced me to 10 years, I had a lot of time to think, a lot of time to read. You know, I'm a born again, I guess you could say Christian, but I don't really subscribe to a denomination, but I do believe in Jesus. And I learned a lot about God. Thank you. I learned a lot about God in jail. And I always try to be authentic to myself because it's either two sides. You know, when you're a kid in NYI, it's a lot of fighting. That's pretty much what it is. You're not dealing with people trying to take your manhood in NYI. I mean, if you go to a level 5 or 6 jail with a lot of time young, around 21, you might have more of a challenge, or you might have to get down with a certain group of people to get protected. But luckily for me, a lot of my time was spent being a kitchen worker, writing songs, learning how to write songs, learning how to control my voice, learning how to be confident speaking to people I've never seen before, and really just trying to rehabilitate myself. It wasn't an easy feat because it's a very negative environment, and I even experienced my mother after like 2 years of being in jail. You know, after telling her, going from saying, you know, God told me in a dream you're gonna get a sentence modification, to me just her just going incognito and not even picking up the phone and not even understanding why. Thankfully, though, I have my dad and I have people like Daeed, and I met him through one of my other mentors named John Mealy, that's not able to be here and be present. But those relationships that I was able to create, I didn't know that they would, you know, outlive my time in prison. Some of us get out of the cell just to get out of the cell. We ain't really go on the programs to try to learn and things like that. But I took that time really serious, and I was able to make it out of that environment unscathed and somewhat whole. It's been about 10 years. In July, it's gonna be 10 years. I wanna clap it up for that.
I'm gonna bring up China, a sister that's dedicated to reentry, talk about the good brothers and sisters that do the work in New Haven from Next Level Empowerment. China, come on up here and tell us real quick what you're doing. Give her a round of applause, yo.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Housatonic. I'm employed at Housatonic, and I'm also an alum of Housatonic. So the program got started here. The program that Dai is running got started here at the Academic Dean's office at the time, and we're thankful to have Dai here. I not only am involved in the reentry world, but I'm also the president of the board of directors for the Next Level Empowerment Program, whose founders are Ray Boyd and Jackie James Boyd. If you know the name Ray Boyd, you know that he is a juvenile lifer who served 30 years incarcerated and is very successful. He's been home for not 30 years. He's been home for 3 years and is very successful, has traveled all over the world helping others. The program is dedicated to helping create healthier communities for those re-entering society and also being a catalyst for prevention. So we are just opening up one of the homes that will house about 7 men in the hill section of the Haven, creating not a halfway house, but a home. And if you know halfway house, you know it means you halfway home and halfway locked up. We don't want that. That's why we want to create a positive and healthy community by doing the work that we're doing, also not only with men and women, but with youth. And we are now involved with no cash bail. So if you have any questions, I'll be in the back of the room, back and forth, and I can tell you more about Next Level. We are celebrating National Second Chance Month this month with many different programs. Next week, we will have She Sees Beyond, and the facilitator of that's for the women's panel. So if any of you want to come down to New Haven for that, it's going to be at the Stetson Library. And if you know the name Lucinda Cross, then you can Google her, but she will be the facilitator of that program next week. Nice to have you here. Thank you all for joining.
And if you don't know who Lucinda Cross is, she's a very, very powerful sister in the reentry world. She did time in federal prison. She's a super entrepreneur. I had the pleasure of meeting her through my daughter, Kiki. She had both of us on a panel for a fundraiser. Very dynamic sister. If you get a chance, come on out. So at this time, I want to introduce someone to you who you may be familiar with and you may not be familiar with. And this was another brother that was in my group. This brother was in my group, and I'm also extremely proud of him. He don't know I've been following him the whole time. He told me, he said, just like Jaquan, he said, I'm not coming back to prison. He told me this in his group. And like Jaquan, he was serious about his craft. And he dedicated his time to his craft. You might see him, or you might have seen him. I was proud when I seen him on BET on the awards. He was in the rap cypher. I said, look at Bridgeport in the building up there. You see my brother. Yeah, man. And the brother goes hard and he carries the whole state on his back, not just Bridgeport. And he represents real hip hop. His intelligence, his lyrical skill, his style. The brother's style is impeccable. What Mike Tyson said, he's impeccable. The brother is nice, man. And I really want y'all to give him a warm round of applause because in my heart, I feel like it says in the Bible, you hear that say a prophet's not welcome in his own home. This brother, his skill is recognized internationally, world renowned. And I think we have failed to recognize. And we want to show him we appreciate he been carrying Bridgeport on his back. Brother Arlen Sholey, the Holy One.
That was a beautiful welcome, man. I might need to bring you with me when I go on tour or something. How y'all doing out there? How y'all doing out there? I'm from Bridgeport. You know, I spent most of my life here. You know, rough city. If y'all from here, y'all know. And I go by the name of Sholi the Holy One. And I spent time, if you're familiar with the Northland, I spent a lot of time in the terrace and doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I ended up incarcerated a number of times. And I met my brother Dai at the Fresh Start program. And I came home from prison in 2015, so this would be 10 years this year. It was 10 years in March. And I had a conversation with Dai before this. Leonard, what's up, brother? Peace. I had a conversation with Dai about, what to talk about up here. And he just, wanted me to speak to how creativity in the arts has kept me on my path and kept me out of prison. So what I want to talk about is, before I took my craft seriously and before I took music seriously, I couldn't really think farther than what I was gonna do tonight, So it'd be like, where we gonna go to the club, or where the girls at, or how I'm gonna make some money in this city or that city. I couldn't think much farther than that. That was really all I was concerned with. So nowadays we use a lot of words like equity, generational wealth, and legacy, and I relate that to creativity a lot because when I was in prison, it was a guy named Buddha, right? And wherever he would see me, because my name is Show, he would just yell out, "Show love," like across the child hall, across the rec yard, he'd see me, "Show love." And it just stuck out to me, right? So one day we were sitting down and I said, bro, I'm gonna use that when I go home. And fast forward, I came home in 2017, I released an album called Show Love. And before that, I reached out to a guy and I paid him to give me a logo for the concept. So I think I gave him $60 and he gave me the logo back. I made the album. And then I made some shirts. I made 50 shirts, 25 white with a black logo and 25 black with a white logo. And I might have sold them in maybe an hour or two on Facebook. I put the shirts up and they sold like that. So with that came from somebody I met in jail in a dark situation, and it led to something beautiful. And I've been on tour with Millie's, with Chris Webby. I've been on Shade 45, on the Radar, bars on I-95. And why I speak to that is because when you do something creative, whether it's music, photography, videography, art, you create two types of equity. You create normal equity, but you also create sweat equity as well. So you got people who rely on you or look to you, people who champion you in your community or otherwise, right? And over the course of time, it becomes a larger community, and you think about that before you make a decision, right? So if you work at, and there's nothing wrong with this, I don't want y'all to misconstrue this, but if you work at Target, or if you work at Home Depot and you get a DUI, or you go to jail, or you get arrested for fighting with your girlfriend, they're gonna open tomorrow, But if you have an obligation as a photographer to photograph somebody's wedding, or if you have a performance, or if you have an art gallery that you own, you can't just get a DUI. You can't just go to jail. You can't just make poor decisions. You gotta really think about what you built, and that's helped me a lot. I'm not perfect, and I didn't always make the correct decisions, but as God would have it, I'm here. And because of music and because of the following I've built and because of the relationship that I've built with my community, it really makes me think about what my future is before I just do something offhand, sporadically, and I think that will help a lot of people, And aside from that, something else that's deep to me is the definition of record is a tangible thing that provides evidence to a period in time, right? So when you think of record, you might think of music, but if you take pictures, if you do paintings, if you make music, you make videos, you're making a record of history, So I could listen to NWA or watch a video from NWA, and it'll show me what Los Angeles was like in 1990. And that's legacy. You know, I could listen to Chief Keef, and I could hear what Chicago was like in 2011. You know, so I want you to understand that when you create something, you're creating a record, and that's legacy. That's what we strive for. We strive for equity, which you could create by being consistent and putting your heart into what you do. You could create the legacy because one day, your grandkids is gonna say, you know, this is from 2025 or 2020 with the work that we're doing right now. You know, and that's what it's about for me. So I just keep my eyes looking forward, and I want to keep building, and I want to keep spreading love and keep impacting people the best way I can. So that's what creativity is to me and how it has kept me free so far for 10 years.
I work with high-profile cases. I'm in wellness. I do trauma-informed care now. I'm a public health educator there. And here's the thing. We have resources in every jail, in every prison, and I thank all of us for programming. But we don't have it at home. We don't have it. And so our jail system can't be the epicenter for help. Our people keep going back to prison because they're homeless. In the winter, they go to jail because it's warm. Our people can't keep going back there because there's no support with mental health. But all of our great doctors and psychiatrists are in jails and prisons. It's a setup and it's not fair. It's not fair. It's not fair that 18-year-olds get fed consistently in jail more than they do at home. It's not fair. Last year I lost my favorite girl to a drug overdose of fentanyl. You know, when we rap, when we tell stories, we inspire people. And I do think that having a platform to share your testimony is important, but we also have a responsibility to uplift and to grow. And the kids love the drugs. Our kids love the drugs. And one great night, they left her there and she died. And they all got scared because they still kids. They got scared and ran. And nobody could revive her. She was 20. And I remember when I met her, the first thing she said to me, she was like, "You from Harlem?" And I was like, "Yes, Harlem." So she was like, "You can't because nobody makes it out of here." And that's how our community and our young generation feels. I'm bound too. I'm stuck here. This is my ceiling. I chose to come back from Hollywood because it was unfortunate. Nobody comes home. Nobody comes back. When you make it out, you don't want to come home. You don't want to come back. You don't want to be seen as a failure. But I think if we keep including our people, what's important to know is that no matter where you go in life, you can always come home.
That's right.
And I want to speak to, you know, my well-seasoned people in the room real quick. Let your kids come home. Not pushing them out at 18. They're not adults at 18. I don't care legally if they say they adults. And I know teenagers are hard as hell, boy, I tell you. Not my favorite group. The young adult units, when I tell you they turn up, you be like, sit down. You know what I'm saying? You gotta commingle them. But let your kids take time to leave. Let them figure it out and get it right so that they don't fall and get stuck out there for the world and for the system to have them. Let them stay home, even if you didn't grow up that way. This is a new world, it's a new time. And it's okay to be older and become a new person. It's okay to recover from wherever age you are. I know we all get stuck in our ways, our thoughts, in the way that we were raised, but dogma will kill you much quicker than this world will. Old beliefs that we bound ourselves to will kill you much quicker than this world will. What I've learned about incarcerated populations thus far, and it's been almost 10 years, is that they were incarcerated in their mind way before they got to jail. It was a manifestation.
Say that again.
Being incarcerated came way before jail. They were incarcerated in their minds first. They came from the mentality of incarceration. They came from limited beliefs, and those were passed on to them. Make sure we are not passing our hopelessness and our defeat, our ceiling over to this youth.
Come on.
And if my seasoned people, I'm one of them, okay, because I'll be 40 tomorrow. Even if your dreams didn't manifest the way you wanted them to, it does not mean that theirs cannot. And it is not late for yours. I met a woman, I went to a recovery program in my 20s. I met a woman that was 90-something in AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and she said, I'm just trying to be a better person, and she inspired me. She didn't give the whole, this is who I am, and that's that. Be open. Be open. More importantly, before I leave, I want to say that forgiveness is a real thing. I work with quote-unquote predators, and they're predators, and they have every right for society to say that they are predators. Shooting people close range was intentional. Murdering your children is intentional. Until you hear the backstory. I killed my children so my husband wouldn't. I wanted to take myself and them with him, but I survived and I don't know how. That's a little different. That's that gray that we can't just judge because we don't know. I killed him close range because he killed my twin brother. I was the only one left in the field. You don't know. We don't know. And we pray to God that we don't have to. May we find forgiveness in our spirit for ourselves and our shortcomings that nobody knew. It just so happens that there are people in the world that we do hear about their shortcomings, but you have them too. I have them too. May we find forgiveness. May we find peace of mind as a culture. And may we extend our hand when we have survived our trauma, the one that we talk about or we don't, and reach back and help. I know young people are annoying and they're irritating, and you were that too.
That's right. That's right.
Lean in, love on each other. And lastly, I'll say I'm not a political girl, but I will say, the news, political administration is terrifying, it is scary, and it is also an opportunity to lean in and love on your neighbor and support your community. Right? You might have to pay an extra $1, or the service might come with an attitude, but it's still love. Lean in, love on one another. We are not bad. We are not our mistakes. And most importantly, we are not broken. You are never broken. Not at any age, not at any moment. I love shortcomings. They are an opportunity to grow. May you have peace, and may you have beautiful, beautiful journeys. And I thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you, sister. Another round of applause. Thank you. I myself was in prison. I don't tell nobody outside this room. You might cut me out of here, but I was in prison before, and me and Fred was in there so long. When I got out and I saw a cell phone, I said, man, these people put me in prison so long, they let me out in the future. But we was in there so long, we had many, all jokes aside, re-entry hurdles and difficulties that you face in the community trying to readjust. And it's always good to know that somebody has been through what you've been through and that there's help for you. So before you call your man and get that starter kit, get in touch with one of these people in this room, one of these resources, to get you the real starter kit for the rest of your life and the success that's waiting on you. So we want to celebrate Second Chance Month with you all. And I thank from the bottom of my heart every speaker, so valuable. I want to uplift their platform. Please reach out and connect with their platforms, download, buy their music. That's important. Look and see what Green is doing, the Urban Peace Squad. And if you want to try to duplicate that here, whatever you got to do to bring peace to the community and add resources, then we encourage that. So at this time, I want to open up for interactive dialogue with you. If anybody has any questions, we got a couple of minutes left. I'll let y'all use that one right there. Thank you. Anybody has any questions for our three guest speakers? Anybody?
I just want to say, man, just give Diane another round of applause. I just want to say, it's the process, right? Me and Diane been doing this work for a lot of years. A lot of the service providers that are out here doing the thing. But one thing about us as individuals, when we come home, we're looking for instant gratification.
Yeah, it is.
And nothing's going to happen overnight without hard work.
That's right.
I remember being inside prison and I read this book by Henry Ford. He said, you show me a man who never failed, and I'll show you a man who never succeeded.
Fact.
So we have to go through things in our life in order to get where we're going to go. Now, I put this suit on today for a reason. I don't always put a suit on, right?
Yeah.
Because my prison number is 51592. That's a 5-digit number. I started coming to the penitentiary in the 70s. And when I was in the penitentiary, there was an OG that told me in the library one day, he said, young G, when you go home, I said, I ain't about to go home, what you talking about? He said, just shut up and listen.
That's it.
I said, okay. He said, when you go home, put a suit on and walk through the mall, see what happens. I said, man, I never forgot that. He told me that in 1989. I didn't come home to 2006. I put the suit on, I went into Jungle Mall, and I had a briefcase. I swear I had rocks in the briefcase. And I was walking through the mall, and I went inside the Macy's, and everybody, could I help you? Could I help you? Could I help you? I was like, yeah, I'm just looking right now. I had no money on me. I had rocks in my pocket, in the briefcase. He said, I went back home, I put a hoodie on. And I went back in the mall, and nobody said anything to me, and I felt like they was watching me. So what I'm saying today is clothes is a language. And sometimes we have to put on, and I'm not saying laugh when ain't nothing funny, and scratch when you don't itch, but you gotta be a chameleon in the society that we live in if you're trying to get from point A to point B. When you talk about keeping it real is being self-sufficient for yourself. And how you gonna get there. And if you don't got no plan, then you plan to fail.
Right.
Say it again.
If you don't got no plan, then you plan to fail. I'm gonna tell you what they was talking about wellness. I was wellness in the penitentiary. I went to Indian service. I went to NA. I went to AA. I went to Next Pop That Cell. I went to every program that they had. I was in the Indian people. The Indians sweat anything to get out that cell. But what happened to me also is I read a book by George Jackson. It was called Soul Dad Brothers. George Jackson was a brother that was a Black Panther. And he was in Soul Dad prison in Cali. And he said there's only two ways you come out of the penitentiary. He said you make a complete change or you come out worse than what you was before you went in. He said you come out worse than what you was before you went in. I was in the penitentiary with 30 years. There's no way that I want to come out of there the way that I went in there. So I set myself to a course of study. There's a wise man said, his greatest minds are behind the wall.
That's right.
And I'm here to tell you, there's some great minds in this room right now. I got a lot of respect for a lot of you young brothers that came through that wall, that came out and are succeeding now. And the ones that haven't succeeded, you're going to succeed.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that you can, then you won't.
That's right.
And don't let nobody put it in your head that you can't. Right now, I don't want to talk about, I done came up, somebody came to me and said, yo, you want to be in the city council? I've never been a politician, I'm not a politician now. But I'm a hell of an advocate and I know what my community needs.
That's it.
Right now, being a city councilman, I'm saying something to you young brothers in here. That's not my thing. But you gotta start thinking about the needs of your community.
Real.
And stop letting people tell you what you need when you know what you need.
Yeah.
You got to get out, learn what's offered to you in the city of Bridgeport, and then make it happen.
Easy to go back. But I know there's a higher calling for me to do what I need to do.
That's right.
You're in the prison of darkness and hopelessness, but gotta be the light.
Yes.
So that's how I made it home, and that's how I'm gonna try my best. I gotta remember how God got me home.
Yes.
And if I lean on God, He's gonna keep me home.
That's right.
Thank you, man. And we know this brother's going through a lot. He has support. Y'all continue to be here for him. We will continue to be here for him, definitely.
I just want to say thank you for the brothers that came out, Quan, Sholi, and everybody else speaking. I'm from Bridgeport myself, the west side of Bridgeport. I've been in and out of jail. I served 10 years in jail since 2001 to 2011 straight. And I went back in 2013 to 18. So I just want to say, Daeed is definitely a mentor of mine, and Fred X. And I want to say sorry to the brother right there that lost his brother with that whole incident. You know, that was messed up. Definitely. I just appreciate, you know what I'm saying, me coming and getting the word and hearing everybody else's struggles. So, thanks.
Yes, sir. We appreciate it. You look good too, man. Yes, sir. Any other questions? I think, Miss Carson, 'cause I think she got a wellness company too. Y'all need to connect with her. Go ahead.
Thank you so much, Mr. McNice. I do have not so much a question, but maybe a thought-provoking statement.
Yes, ma'am.
Whereas, by all means, thanks to your panel, everyone's word was appreciated. But in regards to the resources, there are so many resources for re-entry individuals. And as we know, that didn't formally exist. My husband had no opportunities at all to reap any of the benefits that are allocated today. So with the resources that are available today, I think there needs to be a networking of businesses with businesses. So we're not, my daughter is the owner of the wellness spa, and I have the tea business. But with all of that said, there are so many, as we know, in our current political climate, as the young lady spoke to, that we've got an opportunity within our own community to support our community. So within that, we need to take advantage because of the fact that you have something going on. Housatonic has so many different programs that you've just enlightened me. I was totally unaware of this. I've been taking notes copiously through all of this. But all of the key individuals here, I would love to be able to speak with you because people who do have businesses, we meet people every day. They have a brother, they have a sister, they have a cousin. We need to share these resources to be able to help our community be able to move forward. So I would greatly appreciate some comments on that as to how we can all get together and just share the resources, the cards. We have a green book area in our spa where we've got 1 million cards and everybody comes in with a story. They either need a mechanic or they need someone to help their son who's just coming home. So please help us out with that.
No. We're going to close out. If there's no more comments or questions, I appreciate you, Brother Jeter. I just want to close out just thanking our speakers and thanking you one more time. Thanking our sponsors and for the brothers and sisters in the reentry community. One of my favorite sayings, I leave you with this. No matter what you're going through, your worst day out here is better than your best day in here.
That's right.
Peace be with you.